9 huge EastEnders spoilers for next week, 10th to the 13th of June. Next week on EastEnders, Joel pushes Tommy down a dangerous path, Kat and Alfie's wedding is off, and Elaine makes a shocking decision. Please note, there is no episode on Monday the 9th of June. 1. Junior reveals George's Christmas Day secret. While the events of Cindy's Christmas Day attack are still having repercussions across the square, we didn't think that there were still secrets yet to be uncovered. However, we were wrong. George, Colin Salmon, has been keeping something hidden for the past 5 months, and it's about to have some explosive consequences. Here's everything in store in Walford from Tuesday 10th to Thursday the 13th of June. At the end of this week, Elaine, Harriet Thorpe, was left furious to learn that George helped Cindy, Michelle Collins, relaunch the Albert, paying for the extra staff she needed to make the event a success. George was unable to reason with Elaine, so left her in the Vic cellar, and headed back to the Albert to apologize to Cindy for his wife's outburst. Next week, things remain tense between George and Elaine, as she continues to stew. Things eventually thaw between them, and Elaine surprises George with a gift to commemorate his boxing career. However, their happy moment is spoilt when Junior, Micah Balfour, storms in with a revelation. George went to see his mum, Sabrina, on Christmas Day night. George had claimed that he'd headed to an underground fight after the dramatic events of Christmas Day, where Cindy and Junior's affair was revealed, but it turns out he also popped to see his ex-wife. George confesses that Sabrina tried to kiss him, but he swears that he pulled away and rejected her. Nonetheless, Elaine is left devastated that George has lied to her again, and she throws George out. George scours the square trying to find Junior, but he instead finds Cindy, who offers him a shoulder to cry on. It's not long before Elaine heads out to find her husband, and spots him and Cindy hugging on the balcony of the Albert. Oh dear. 2. Kat fears the worst over Alfie. This week's episodes were a rollercoaster of emotions for Kat. Jessie Wallace, she said yes to Alfie's, Shane Ritchie, impromptu wedding proposal, and the pair embarked on a rapidly organized joint stag and hen do. However, hours later, she returned home to discover that someone had been watching an explicit video on Alfie's laptop, and assumed it was her husband returning to the drama next week. Kat is shocked by what she's found on Alfie's computer, and has no idea that Tommy, Sonny Kendall, was actually the one to purchase it, after being egged on by Joel, Max Murray. She confides in Gillian Wright, worried that Alfie has been forced to turn to the internet's darker side for entertainment as things have been a struggle in the bedroom department following his cancer treatment. Later, as Alfie cooks a romantic meal at number 5D, Kat arrives ready to seduce her husband, hoping to remind him that he doesn't need to look for stimulation elsewhere. When a surprised Alfie tries to slow things down, Kat is left feeling rejected, and she storms out. 3. Amy tells Vicky the truth about Joel. Meanwhile, Vicky, Alice Haig, finally learns the truth about Joel, when Amy, Ellie Dad, reveals the real reason that nobody wants to be friends with him. Amy explains that he shamed Avoni, Aaliyah James, after they slept together, and now Avoni is being ostracized and getting trolled by abusive messages from people at school. How will Vicky respond to the latest development, and will Ross, Alex Walkinshaw, continue to support his son? Elsewhere, after being chosen as the couple's wedding planner, Kim, Tamika Empson, grows frustrated as she hits some snags whilst planning for Kat and Alfie's big day, which, despite them only just getting engaged, is just days away. 4. Elaine's jealousy leads her to a shock decision. After spotting George and Cindy together, Elaine decides not to confront them. Instead, she heads to the cafe to collect her thoughts, before returning to the Albert after calming down. When she gets there, Felix, Matthew James Morrison, reveals that George and Cindy left together looking cozy, causing her to fear the worst as George cheated on her. Sticking around, Elaine calls someone to come and join her for company. As she waits, a punter named Stephen tries to chat her up, that is, until Drew Peacock, Paul Clayton, arrives, batting Stephen away and giving Elaine a pep talk. Drew Peacock, for those who need a reminder, was the drag queen who turned up at Elaine's hen do, after being hired by Johnny, Charlie Suff. Elaine had the shock of her life when she and Drew came face to face, as it was revealed that Drew was the man who Elaine's ex-husband, and Linda's, Kelly Bright, father, had an affair with. While Elaine initially pushed Drew away, the two eventually managed to reconcile, and it seems Elaine still sees him as someone to confide in. Yet after taking Drew's advice to heart, Elaine goes on to make a shocking decision. What has she done? 5. Kat and Alfie realize Tommy was to blame. After Kat stormed off, hurt by Alfie seemingly rejected her, she heads back to Jean's to talk things over. Jean implores Kat to talk to her fiancé and find out what's really going on, while across the square, Patrick, Rudolph Walker, gives Alfie the same advice. Finally having a proper conversation about their issues, they try to find a way forward. When Kat brings up her worries about the explicit video she found on Alfie's laptop, he's confused, and soon works out that it was actually Tommy who was watching it. Meanwhile, Vicky tells Ross what Amy told her about Joel, and they agree that they need to find him more positive male role models so he doesn't go down a dangerous path. They're soon buoyed when they see him helping Tommy with his wedding speech, and believe that Joel's friendship with Tommy will be good for him. Unfortunately, the worst is yet to come. 6. Yolanda fears for her and Patrick's relationship. While Patrick hasn't been seen on screen for a number of weeks, with Yolanda explaining that he was struck down by a bout of food poisoning, it seems that things aren't too good in the Truman household. Early next week, Yolanda is hurt when she asks Patrick for a massage, but he makes an excuse to get out of it. She's left feeling like things aren't good between them, and opens up to Denise, Diane Parrish, voicing her fears about their relationship, worried that things will never be the same as they once were. Denise tries to support the pair through the crisis in their relationship, and in the final episode next week, Patrick fights for Yolanda by making a grand gesture. Will it be enough to save them? 7. The wedding is off. Despite Kat learning that it wasn't Alfie who had downloaded the explicit video, their concerns about Tommy's behavior has still taken the shine off their upcoming wedding day. Alfie proposes to talk to Tommy about his decision, but is distracted by a series of mishaps and doesn't manage to sit his son down for the serious chat. Later, he's forced to confess to Kat that he's also made a mess of several of the important wedding tasks. Upset, Kat, who's already in her wedding dress, tells Alfie that she's having second thoughts. The wedding is off. 8. Can Alfie save his wedding day? On our final trip to Walford next week, Alfie is devastated by Kat's decision to call off the wedding. With so much relationship drama across the square, Elaine, Yolanda, and Kat all congregate to compare notes on the sorry state of their love lives, and Elaine's words give the other two pause for thought. Meanwhile, Alfie gets a pep talk of his own from an unlikely source, as he wonders whether he and Kat can work things out. As they meet to talk things through, will their wedding day go ahead after all? 9. Joel leads Tommy down a dangerous path. After the wedding, Joel invites Tommy over to number 43. As the teens hang out, Joel shows Tommy a video by a social media influencer, who's saying some pretty derogatory things about women. Will Tommy reject Joel's controversial views, or follow him down a dark path? Here are the EastEnders spoilers for next week. Tuesday the 10th of June, episode 71:33. Junior shares a shocking secret. Kat voices her fears. Amy shares information with Vicky. Wednesday the 11th of June, episode 71:34. Elaine summons an unlikely confidant. Alfie has a realization. Yolanda and Patrick are at loggerheads. Thursday the 12th of June, episode 71:35. Kat despairs when Alfie messes up. Denise steps up for her loved ones. George tries to make amends. Friday the 13th of June, episode 71:36. Kat and Alfie need to take a big decision. Patrick makes a grand gesture.